Hello, my friend. Welcome once again to this channel. Today, I want to share with you an opportunity that can completely transform your financial situation. Raising pigs for fast fattening. I am not talking about a complicated idea, nor a business reserved only for those with large properties or a lot of capital. I am talking about an accessible, real activity capable of generating a return in about 6 months, provided it is done with discipline, care, and good planning. Stay until the end because what you are going to hear could be the first step to changing your relationship with money. Many people believe that to start a rural business, they need to take out loans, go into debt with the bank, or invest a fortune from day one. But the truth is different. It is possible to start small with a few animals without compromising the family budget and without being burdened by interest rates that can drown out any profit. Throughout my experience working with animals, I have seen ordinary people start from almost nothing and in a few months achieve results they never imagined. They didn't have sophisticated facilities, they didn't have 100 pigs, they didn't have large tracts of land. They had the willingness to learn, perseverance, and the determination to start with what was within their reach. And that, in this business, can make all the difference. When someone asks me what one of the most profitable rural activities for a quick return is, I answer without hesitation: raising pigs for fattening. Why? Because pork is one of the most consumed animal proteins in the world. That means there is constant demand in a market willing to buy when the product is good and well managed. Furthermore, pigs have excellent feed conversion. In simple terms, they transform the feed they consume into meat quickly and efficiently. While other animals need more time and more food to gain weight, a pig with proper feeding, hygiene, and correct management can reach a good weight in a relatively short period. In about 6 months, a well-cared-for piglet can become an animal ready for sale, weighing approximately between 90 and 120 kilos, depending on the breed and management. And here is the point that many beginners need to understand. You don't need to start big. You can start with 5 or 10 piglets. The important thing is not the initial size, but the intelligence with which you manage the process. If you buy within your means, control expenses, take care of the feeding, keep the environment clean, and monitor the animal's growth, you are already building a solid foundation. Perhaps you are wondering now, is this possible for me, even if I have no experience? That is the right question because no one is born knowing everything. Experience is gained by starting, observing, and correcting. The difference between someone who only dreams and someone who changes their life lies in taking the first step. Because in this business, every simple decision, from buying the right piglet to controlling the daily ration, can bring you closer to a stable, honest, and truly profitable result for you. In the next part, we will see how to start without loans, how to calculate basic costs, and how to turn a small batch of piglets into a real opportunity for profit. Now let's talk about something that for many is the biggest obstacle before starting: money. Many people look at pig farming and think they need to go to the bank, take out a loan, go into debt for years, and then work just to pay off interest. But that doesn't have to be your path. The smartest strategy is to start small, safely and scalably, using only what you can invest without jeopardizing your household's stability. You don't need to buy 100 pigs in the first cycle. You can start with 5 or 10 piglets, observe how daily management works, and learn through practice. The important thing is that every decision is within your reality. If you have little space, you start with a few animals. If you have little capital, you choose a smaller batch. If you still have no experience, you start slowly. Because in this business, growing out of control can be just as dangerous as never starting at all. Let's think about the basic math. When you buy a weaned piglet, you are making your first investment. That animal will need feed, fresh water, adequate space, daily cleaning, and some health care. Over the next 6 months, your job will be to ensure that it eats well, that it doesn't lack water, that the environment is ventilated and clean, and that its development is closely monitored. At the end of that period, if the management was correct, you will have a pig ready for sale, weighing anywhere between 90 and 120 kilos, depending on the breed, the feeding, and the care it received. The profit appears in the difference between everything you invested and the value you receive when selling the animal. It seems simple, but this is where many beginners make mistakes. It is not enough to sell and look at the money coming in. You have to know exactly how much went out beforehand. How much did the piglet cost? How much was spent on feed? Were there medications? How much water, energy, or materials did you consume to maintain the space? If you don't know those numbers, you might think you made a profit, when in reality, you only recovered a portion of the invested money. Therefore, one of the first rules of this business is knowing your costs. Each animal should be treated as a small investment. Write everything down: the purchase price, the amount of feed consumed, health expenses, materials used, and any other cost that arises. That information allows you to calculate the selling price more clearly and understand if you are truly making a profit. And here is a very important point. The secret is not just in raising pigs, but in raising them efficiently. If the animal takes too long to gain weight, your costs increase. If you buy cheap but poor quality feed, you might end up spending more in the end. If you neglect hygiene and a disease appears, the loss can be much greater than the initial savings. That is why every detail counts. Starting without loans requires patience, but it also gives you freedom. You won't have the pressure of installments, interest, or debts growing over your head. You will be able to learn with less risk, correct mistakes, and reinvest the profits from the first cycle into the next. And what if those first 5 piglets were the beginning of something much bigger for your family even in the coming months? Now let's talk about the point that carries the most weight in the entire fattening process: feeding. If you want pig farming to be profitable, you cannot treat feed as a secondary detail. In this business, food represents approximately 70% of the total production cost. That means every bag purchased, every kilo wasted, and every poorly calculated decision can take away a significant part of your final profit. Many people make a mistake when starting out. They always look for the cheapest feed. At first glance, it seems like a good idea because the immediate expense drops. But if that feed lacks the proper nutritional quality, the animal will take longer to fatten, it will consume for a longer time, and the cycle will become less profitable. In the end, cheap can turn out to be expensive. The right thing to do is find a balance between price and quality, because a well-fed pig grows better, makes better use of its ration, and reaches its selling weight in better condition. There are also smart ways to reduce costs without harming the animal's development. You can produce part of the feed on your own property if you have that possibility. You can also seek agreements with local producers, take advantage of resources available in the area, and organize your purchases in advance. The important thing is not to improvise. In pig farming, improvisation almost always ends up costing money. A valuable strategy is to build a good relationship with suppliers. When you buy feed frequently or in scheduled volumes, you can negotiate better prices. And this doesn't mean you have to buy everything all at once. You can arrange monthly purchases, but with more favorable conditions, as if you were buying wholesale. It might seem like a small difference on each bag, but when you multiply that savings by several animals and by 6 months of fattening, the result becomes very significant. Now let's move on to the structure needed to start. One of the great advantages of raising pigs is that you don't need modern facilities or a huge investment at the beginning. Of course, there are farms with temperature control, automatic systems, and sophisticated equipment. But to start, you can work with something simple, functional, and organized. The essential thing is that the space is clean, ventilated, protected from rain, excessive sun, and strong winds, and that it allows the animals to move comfortably. Each pig needs approximately 1 square meter of covered area. So if you are going to start with 10 animals, you should have about 10 covered square meters, plus an additional space for them to move and exercise. This structure can be built with simple materials, taking advantage of what you already have available. There are people who build good pig pens with treated wood, fiber cement roof tiles, and wire fences. The important thing is not that the place is luxurious, but that it is safe, practical, and easy to clean. Ease of handling also counts for a lot. You must be able to enter, clean, feed, and observe the animals without difficulty. A poorly designed space increases daily work, generates stress, and can affect performance. Therefore, before building, think calmly. Will it be easy to keep this place clean? Will I be able to separate animals if necessary? Will water and feed always be accessible? In the next step, we will see why hygiene, water, and the choice of good piglets can decide the success or failure of the cycle. Now we come to a part that many beginners underestimate, but which can decide the outcome of the entire cycle. Hygiene. In pig farming, a dirty environment not only causes bad odors, it also opens the door to diseases, weight loss, stress, and unexpected expenses. Therefore, if you want your animals to grow well and your investment to return with a profit, daily cleaning must be part of your routine. Although many people think otherwise, pigs are very clean animals when they live in proper conditions. They usually choose a specific corner to relieve themselves and keep the rest of the space tidier. Your role is to facilitate that behavior by cleaning the area, removing waste, preventing moisture buildup, and keeping the floor in good condition. A clean pen improves the animal's well-being and helps the feed transform better into meat. Another essential point is water. A pig needs constant access to fresh, clean water. In hot weather, consumption can increase significantly, and an adult animal can drink up to 15 liters of water a day. If water is lacking, the animal eats less, gains less weight, and can get sick. Therefore, the water supply is not a detail or a luxury. It is a basic necessity that directly affects growth, health, and the final profit. Now let's talk about choosing piglets. When you go to buy your first animals, you shouldn't just look at the price. A cheap piglet that is weak or sick can end up costing much more later. Always buy from reliable suppliers, producers with a good reputation, who take good care of their animals and can give you assurance about the health and genetics of the batch. Before buying, observe carefully. The piglets should be active, with bright eyes, clean skin, and no visible wounds. They should also have a good weight for their age and show vigor. Avoid apathetic animals or those with a cough, diarrhea, difficulty breathing, or any strange signs. Remember that each piglet represents a portion of your capital. Choosing poorly from the start can compromise the entire cycle. The breed also heavily influences performance. There are breeds selected over years to grow fast and make better use of feed. Among the most common for fattening are Landrace, Large White, and Duroc, as well as crosses between them, which usually offer strong animals with good development and excellent feed conversion. Talk to breeders in your area to find out which breeds work best in your region, because the climate, available feed, and local market also matter. During the 6 months of fattening, it is not enough to just leave food and wait. You must observe the animals every day. Check if they are all eating well, if any stay isolated, if there are behavioral changes or signs of illness. Problems discovered early are easier to solve and cause fewer losses. Vaccination and deworming should not be neglected either. There are important vaccines against diseases that affect pigs, and a good health program allows the animals to make better use of their feed. Yes, all of this has a cost, but it is a necessary investment. It will always be better to prevent than to spend later on expensive treatments or, even worse, lose animals. This way you protect your money, your effort, and the hope placed in each fattening cycle from day one with more real security. A very smart strategy for someone who is just starting out is not to buy all the piglets at once. Instead of putting all your money into a single batch, you can make staggered purchases, acquiring small groups every month or every 2 months. This way, you will have animals in different stages of development, and when the business starts rolling, you will also be able to have more frequent sales throughout the year. Furthermore, each batch becomes a practical lesson. What you learn with the first animals you apply to the next ones, gradually improving management, feeding, and cost control. This system also helps reduce risks. If you buy all the animals together and a health problem, a price drop, or a sales difficulty occurs, all your capital is exposed at the same time. But when you work in stages, you have more room to correct mistakes and make decisions calmly. In a rural business, thinking about risk is not pessimism. It is responsibility. Those who take care of their money from the beginning have a better chance of growing without losing control. Now we reach the moment when the effort begins to turn into money, the sale. There are several ways to market fattening pigs. You can sell them to slaughterhouses, to butcher shops, directly to final consumers, or even, if you have the proper structure and authorization, process the meat, and sell derivative products. Each path has advantages and difficulties, and the best option depends on your reality, your region, and local demand. Selling to slaughterhouses is usually the simplest way. You take the animals, they are weighed, and you receive payment based on live weight. It is practical and fast, but normally the price per kilo is lower. On the other hand, selling to butcher shops or directly to the consumer can give you a better price, although it requires more work, more communication, and more organization. Some people sell the whole pig to families. Others prefer to sell by cuts. The important thing is to understand what your market is looking for. Therefore, do not wait until you have the animals ready to start looking for buyers. From the beginning, build your network of clients. Talk to neighbors, friends, and family. Participate in rural producer groups. Visit local fairs. Use social media to show your work and explain that you are producing quality pork. The more people know what you do, the easier it will be to sell when the time comes. And when you get loyal customers, the business becomes safer. You can plan the number of animals according to demand and avoid being left with an unsold product, but never depend on a single buyer. Diversify your sales channels, keep clear financial records, and do not invest all your money in a single batch. What would happen if the price drops right on the week of the sale, or if a buyer falls through? Having alternatives can save your profit. Pig farming is not just feeding animals until they get fat. It is a business that requires strategy, foresight, and control. Those who sell well, calculate well, and protect their risks transform 6 months of work into a real opportunity for growth. Therefore, before selling, always ask yourself if you have a clear price, a potential client, and an alternative outlet, because those 3 answers can protect all the effort of your 6-month cycle. Now I want to talk to you about something few people mention, but which separates those who just raise animals from those who build a real business. Mindset. Raising pigs for fattening isn't just putting feed in a trough and waiting 6 months. It is an activity that requires discipline, observation, record keeping, expense control, and a vision for the future. Even if you start with just a few animals, you must treat the operation as a small business, because every piglet represents invested money, dedicated time, and a real possibility for growth. The producers who make the most progress are those who take notes, compare, and learn. They record how much they spend on feed, how much each batch grows, which supplier worked best, what problems arose, and how they were solved. That accumulated knowledge is worth a lot because each cycle can be better than the last. That's why you should never stop learning. Watch content, read technical materials, talk to other breeders, visit farms in your area, and take advantage of available courses or publications. In this business, whoever stands still ends up falling behind. It is also important to think about sustainability. Today, many people want to know where the food they consume comes from. If you raise your animals responsibly, respecting their welfare, maintaining hygiene, and using good practices, your product gains value. Even manure, which some see as a problem, can become an advantage. It can be used as organic fertilizer, sold to farmers, or, with the right infrastructure, utilized to produce biogas. Anything that reduces costs or generates additional income improves profitability. But the real secret to multiplying your money lies in reinvesting. When you sell the first batch and have the profit in hand, it will be tempting to spend it all. However, if you want to grow, set aside a significant portion for the next cycle. You can buy more piglets, improve the pen, negotiate better feed, or bolster the herd's health. Imagine starting with 10 piglets. After 6 months, you sell those 10 and, with part of the profit, you buy 15. In the next cycle, you sell 15 and buy 25. Little by little, without loans, the business itself finances its expansion. Of course, this growth must be planned. It is useless to increase the number of animals if you don't have the space, feed, time, and market to sell them. There are producers who started with fewer than 10 pigs and ended up having hundreds. But they didn't just grow haphazardly. They grew by calculating, working hard, and correcting mistakes. I'm not going to lie to you, it takes work. You will have to wake up early, clean, feed, observe, and work even when you are tired. But there is also a deep satisfaction in seeing the piglets arrive small and turn into strong, healthy animals. It is the feeling of producing something with your own hands, of feeding other people, and of building an opportunity for your family. If you've made it this far, you probably already know that you aren't just looking for information, but a way out. So do your research, visit breeders, run the numbers, and start when you are ready. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with what you have, learn along the way, and stay consistent. What if the next 6-month cycle were the beginning of a completely different financial life? And if this content helped you, leave me your experience in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and share this message with someone looking to prosper from the land with dignity.